everybody. So today we are going to be starting our clay unit. So everybody is going to get some clay. When you get it, the first thing that we need to do is we need to wedge it, which means we're trying to work out any of the air bubbles that might be in our clay. Because if there are air bubbles in our clay, we put it in the kiln, it could possibly cause those air bubbles to expand and pretty much destroy our piece. So the first thing we want to do is we have to wedge it. So we are going to take our hands and kind of put them together, like this, and we're going to kind of wedge and work our clay. So now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get all the air bubbles, out of my clay. We're just going to do this a few times. You don't have to go crazy with it because we don't want to overwork the clay and start to cause it to dry on out. All right, so that should be about good. So the next thing we need to do is we need to create and make a slab, a flat piece of clay out of our clay here. So to make sure that it's the same thickness, we're gonna use this little tool that Miss Salatino set up. So the first thing you're gonna do is we're gonna just flatten out our clay a little bit. So I'm just gonna throw it down on the table a few times. I'm not going crazy. I'm not trying to smash it from way up here. We're just kind of dropping it, just trying to flatten it out just to prep it. Okay, so it's a little flatter. It's easier to roll now versus trying to roll a ball of clay. I'm gonna put it down right here and I'm going to grab my little rolling pin here. I set up a set of tracks to help make sure that not only is my clay even, but it's also the same thickness. All right, so I'm gonna work it back and forth. I really just wanna make sure that my clay is nice and smooth throughout. All right, so you want to make sure that you're going back and forth more like this. You don't really want to go back and forth like this, like Miss Salatino was just doing. Because now that I think about it, now I'm starting to make it uneven. So make sure that your clay, I'm going to redo this. Make sure that your clay is nice and even. All right, there we go. I'm gonna bring it this way because I'm not gonna need all of this clay. Beautiful. Okay, now that I have my slab of clay, I'm gonna very carefully lift it. I don't wanna let it flop too much. I'm gonna bring it on over back to my table. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to draw out my clay. And I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So be right back. Okay, now I want to start making the shape for my tic-tac-toe board or my paint palette. So if you have a specific shape, like I am doing a Mickey Disney themed tic-tac-toe board. So for me, I could do and cut this out one of two ways. I could either freehand it with one of the clay knives, or if I want it to be really precise, you can draw it out ahead of time or print out your picture ahead of time to make sure that you're getting, the perfect shape. So for me, I wanted to make sure that I was getting the perfect shape. So I'm gonna take my paper and I'm going to lay it down. Now I can do one of two things. I can take my knife and just cut around it, or if that makes me a little nervous, I can use little, almost like a jack-o'-lantern, and create little holes, almost like a little path to follow with my clay. So for this, I think I can manage to do this. So I'm just gonna slowly go around my clay. I'm holding the paper still. I'm taking my time. This is not a race. I can even remove some clay if I want, because I really want to get this nice Mickey shape. Again, good art takes time. This is not a race. And if you want this to, you know, be usable and look nice, gotta go slow when doing this. So it's just like a big old cookie. We're just gonna slowly trace it. Oop, I want to get a little closer there. Okay. Now when I pick up my clay, I want to make sure that I'm very careful and slow. I want to support it. All right, and there we go. There's my little Mickey board. Now the next step is I am going to want to start to create my rim for the board. And or you could start to hollow out your clay. It's totally up to you. All right, I look forward to seeing you guys. We're going to talk about how to slip and score next. Okay, my friends, now it is time for us to start attaching pieces. So I wanted to create a little rim here for my little pieces of my tic-tac-toe board to go in. Now, the clay right now is wet, and if I were to put it on here, it would stick. But when it dries out, these two pieces would fall apart. So what we have to do is what we call slipping and scoring. So slip is just watered down clay. It's mud in basic terms, all right? So this is gonna be the glue for our clay. So the first thing that I wanna do is we're gonna create a Velcro kind of effect. So if you ever look at Velcro, it's got those like little fingery kind of scratchy hairs that come off of the Velcro itself. We want to do the same thing for each of our pieces. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a fork. You can also use our needle tool. All right, so you just want to scratch and give a little bit of texture to your piece. We're trying to create those little fingers, those little pieces for the clay to grip onto. Now I want to do the same thing with the piece that I'm attaching. So I do like using a fork because it is a little faster. But a needle tool is great also for this reason. All right, so I'm gonna scratch it up real nice. I'm gonna take a little bit of clay. You can use your finger. And you wanna dab it on. You don't wanna go crazy and lose that texture. All right, so we're just gonna kind of scratch it up. Oop, I don't want that little thing there. Now it's nice and gluey. You can even put a few little dabs on your piece. We're gonna set it on, and then my next thing is I want to make sure that these pieces go together, so I'm gonna smooth out the clay. All right, I'm trying to make that seam go away. That's gonna help me make sure that these two pieces stick together. Now you can use your little knife, you can use a steel scraper, you can use your finger, but you wanna do the 3 S's. Score, slip, and smooth. Sometimes I'll even grab a little bit of water to help me out there. All right, now those creases are gone, and I can even go around on my finger too. I think I wanna get rid of that right there. And I'm gonna smooth out the inside as well. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping my hand there so I don't push on the clay. It also helps, ladies, if you have cut fingernails. I probably should be cutting down my fingernails because it is harder to work if you've got long nails. So I think I need to cut my nails down for this. All right, and now, as you can see, my piece is nice, slip, scored, and smoothed, and it's not gonna go anywhere once it dries out. All right, so that's how you are gonna attach pieces. Like I said, if you don't score, slip, and smooth, your pieces will fall off and not stay together. So it's really important that you do these steps. Okay, guys, get to it.